Yes. So,
I think it was Robin Harris, you know, Baby's Kids. He was a really, really funny comedian, but he had a heart attack on stage, I think, and they thought it was him joking around, too.
What was that when Owen Hart hit the turnbuckle? A lot of people thought, you know, okay, this is when's shtick going to be up?
Yeah.
Because there were no bruises, anything, and they were carrying him out. This is just what happens. This is the problem sometimes with when you're in the performance arts, and of course when your material relies on your vaginal flow. But you know what? I'm not here to judge. Women can be funny too. So just let me clear, if either one of you guys fall down on stage on the upcoming tour, it is not part of the show. Well, I can't promise to rush and actually help.
There's going to be some stunt work on my special.
Oh, yes. Like Tom Cruise. Yeah. Listen, I do all my own stunts. You mean like running? Yes. No, I held on to the outside of a plane. Yeah, they're not going to, they have to insure you for $50 million. They're not going to let you do your own stunts. But it wasn't a rooftop, it was a bridge, but it looks like a rooftop. I held on to the top of a plane with a fan blowing on me. Yes. Wow, that is impressive. Well, when considering transplants, they could have been 3 districts over. That's crazy. You haven't seen me upset. All right. I like men quite a great deal. And by that I mean entirely platonically. John Travolta and I have the same Zeus. And he gets into the pressure points.
Speaking of Gallagher,
you have that IT thing. There are a few physiotherapists like, oh wow, the honor's for me. I should go see that. Get a little esoteric. So,
straight hands are here.
Yes. And speaking of hilarious. Now, I don't know if you know this, there's been rising crime we talked about in New York City.
What?
42% since Eric Adams took office. And it was up many, I mean, you're talking about hundreds of percentage points over the last couple of years. The poor guy, the new Eric Adams, the new mayor, it went up 42% under his watch. Oh, no. And here's the thing, Al Sharpton, the Reverend, is upset about it now. He's upset about the rise in crime because it now affects him on a deeply personal level.
You cannot have a culture where people are just at random, just robbing and stealing and is out of control and is put on the front page of the newspaper.
That's what I said.
Only encourages years. In fairness to Eric, he's only been there 5 weeks. But but even as a fair to Eric, they're locking up like toothpaste.
First off, I don't really know if what's the denture? Well, he uses toothpaste. That's a start. Yes, that's good. Could have fooled me. Good. I didn't care when they were robbing and mugging. They were raping. We had a 300% increase in rape. But now I cannot get my Sensodyne, and my enamel is suffering. Mm-hmm. We can't have a city with people no enamel going around.
Can I get an amen?
I love that he's like,
can I get a press complete?
Because Eric Adams, without my proper enamel, then I cannot too enjoy my caramel.
Well, did say someone steals 10 steaks from Trader Joe's? Like, that's the worst thing that's happened in New York?
Well, the worst thing is they had to eat them.
Oh, they're shoving Asians in front of trains, but it's like, this guy stole a whole bunch of food.
Yeah. Did that Asian, was he delivering my toothpaste? You gotta ask for toothpaste like
so
a pack
I
of
have
fools.
to ring the bell to get my toothpaste?
Yeah. I have to ring the bell to get my toothpaste and my anti-razor bump cream. And it still don't work. I got bumps. Mayor Adams, I got bumps all over. And if I have bumps, that means you're doing your job as a chump. Amen. I am useless.
I love that he's still dressed like a pimp.
Yeah. Well, he is pimping out his constituency.
Well,
he
for years.
Forever. It's his shtick. So, by the way...
Fat Al Sharpton.
Yeah, me too. He was more fun.
Yeah,
he was more fun. He was more jolly, getting his ass kicked on daytime TV.
Yeah, but I just think, right now, Fat Al Sharpton just covered in gold would be hilarious. Where's my toothpaste?
Without my toothpaste, my teeth are now made of gold.
Oh, I would
because of you, Eric Adams.
Just a diamond grill. It's because of you. And because I wanted it.
Yeah. Look, I got my name on my grill. He hits it, it spins. That will go my lips sideways. Now, Eric Adams is the mayor, and he did respond. Here's his response.
The people who say, where's our real black leaders, they're going to say, listen, who's Eric? Why does Eric think he should be mayor? Well, Negro, you run. crack his ass.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I still like a
No
more
saltine
guy.
is safe.
That's what Crackers have.
And by the way, I'm not one of those people who says, like, oh, Cracker's the same as the N-word. No, not. But he is a racist. Well, yeah, he's a racist. He's the mayor version of Al Sharpton. Those two deserve
Well, I feel you shouldn't say it as a mayor.
Yes, that's a good idea.
It's fine.
Or if you aspire to be one, as he.
I don't know, maybe you just shouldn't refer to all police as crackers.
Yeah. Also, probably not physically assaulted.
Yeah, kicking the crackers' ass might be the reason why they're not doing anything.
Yes, exactly.
They've got in trouble for doing the assault with police officers.
Let's
before,
see if we can.
Yeah.
See if we can draw the connection here. Kick Cracker's police officers and then no toothpaste.
Oh,
I don't get it. They're stealing from the store. You're blaming the cops?
Yes.
for not stopping them.
I hate it. I used to love this country.
Well, I love this country. I hate that city.
Yeah, I hate this.
Here's the thing. They're locking up the toothpaste. They have to lock it up because people are stealing everything. Used to just be high-ticket items. And hopefully, thanks to Washington Free Beacon for this, hopefully they start locking up Al Sharpton's teleprompter.
But resist, we must. We must. They're all jitty about a shutdown. The tortoise in the race and co-author of Hubris. U2 lead singer Bono, Fran Drescher, Sigourney Weaver, suspect Jahar Tsarnaev, Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh, the show Rush Limbaugh hosts Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Is Mike Muckery yesterday, Antonine Scalia,
He gave up.
Okay, well, and Benghazi, we rank behind Lavita. First stop, Kazakhstan, the college students in Beijing. He's getting lunch at Chipotle in Iowa. Maine is approaching. The GOP's tax day giveaway to millionaires. Why was traffic problems email sent? Environmental projection agency. And what sequestration has done.
You know what? I'm just glad he got out toothpaste.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't say toothpaste is kind of a miracle.
He said toothpicks, but you know what? I'll take the win.
I want to see him and Joe Biden have a reading contest.
I admit I can go toe-to-toe.
Yeah. Oh my God. Paralysis in Cairo and Beijing. Rush Limbaugh.
Well, anyone couldn't get Beijing and billionaires.
Oh, he's like, I think it was Sigourney Weaver.
And you know why he And the only reason he was protected when he was that dumb is because if you say he's that dumb, people will say that you're a racist. No, it's not because he's black. It's because he's him.
Well, it's,
Potato kiosks.
We make fun of a white guy version of him at the White House right now. Come on.
Exactly.
Oh,
that would
no,
be.
that guy's way worse.
That would be a great game of categories.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'd like to.
We're playing charades, and it's like one of them's having a stroke.
You're one of those promotional balloons in the car lot.
Just playing Scrabble, everything's misspelled, but they agree.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of crime, by the way, wonderful sponsor, Walther Firearms. They're a sponsor to the program. We saw that commercial there at the beginning of the show. You can go to waltherarms.com to shop online for gear, parts. Go to a dealer near you because you can't purchase them online. Look, they have the balls to sponsor this show. I've always said they're a great firearms. There are many great firearm companies, and I'm not here to trash any other firearm company, but it's sort of like at a certain point you can get a Mercedes, you can get a BMW, right? They're good cars. And I know someone's like, you should buy American. Well, okay, but in Germany they don't even have a word for tow truck. So my point is, okay, we get it. But just go try the Walther. Search a review for Walther PPQ, Walther PDP. See if you can find a bad one. You can't. They're one of the best kept secrets because they don't have the same marketing budget as all the other guys in these giant military contracts. But they have us, and we recommend that you support sponsors to the show. All right, let's move on from this. I have a Walther here always, and this is
Which one is that one? The one
That's the PDP with a red dot. It's incredible.
the one on your holster.
Oh, this is like a limited edition one.
Ah.
I will say it's obscenely expensive.
You won't share.
No, I won't share. Okay, but it's unbelievable.
Appreciate that.
It's
And
very.
play a little roulette with it.
I don't think you can do it with this. It's just going to always be loaded. It's just called suicide. Yeah, you first. Yeah.
You call that Dave roulette.
It's dangerous if you rack the slip and then the boulette.
emerges, and you will find yourself DI.
And the freedom seed cometh forth.
It is a gum.
I tried to chew it, but my teeth were too sensitive because I haven't had my toothpaste in a long time.
Locking in my toothpaste. I can't believe this guy's watched people get murdered for the last 2 years, and he's angry about toothpaste.
Yeah, hey, how about this? Lock up felons, not toothpaste.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Oh, there we go.
Comment below. Can we do that? Maybe we need a shirt for that. I don't know. TriderShop.com. I have no idea. Lock up felons, not toothpaste. That's absurd. We're literally putting toothpaste and razors and shampoo in cages so that people can roam free who should be in cages.
I'm just curious, who is stealing toothpaste? That's like the least stealable item in the world. Why would you even care?
Maybe the hobos think this is their shot. They're like, I haven't had teeth. I'm hoping it grows back.
That's Rogaine for your teeth?
Yeah.
I don't think it works that way.
Well, they don't know.
But they always lock up the teeth whitening strips.
Yeah. Well, that, yes, of course. You know, a bunch of...
That stuff's like $50 an hour.
Yeah, it's very expensive. It's funny, though, right next to all the stolen toothpaste, the toothbrushes galore.
Right,
There's
yes.
teeth whitening strips right next to the anal bleaching strips.
I think it's dual purpose.
It's not even the same color as the rest of my body. It is like a coffee filter after 2 pots.
I'd like the Michael Jackson one, please.
All right. Okay. Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi, before we move on to Joe Rogan, we're going to spend a lot of time on Joe Rogan today because this is a time to make a stand, just like in Canada they made a stand with trucks. Here we make a stand with Joe Rogan, Spotify, and of course, you know, hopefully you support yours truly because we run into this exact same scenario before, so it's near and dear to my heart. But first, Nancy Pelosi made some interesting, if hypocritical requests of Republicans.
I close by saying that you've heard me say again and again that the Republicans seem to be having a limbo contest with themselves to see how low they can go. They seem to have reached rock bottom with their statement.
She always wins limbo because she can bend backwards and walk down the stairs.
Discourse. legitimate political discourse. I've also said that Republican Party, country needs a strong Republican Party. Made great contributions to our country. I say this to Republicans all the time. Take back your party from this cult.
Yeah. Why is she dressed like John Ritter's foil on Three's Company?
I have no idea. It's a good call. And that's actually the least offensive of her guard.
I hate her so much.
Yeah, well, and what you mean by that is you hate her actions. It's wrong to hate.
You're right. Yeah. No, I don't hate her. She seems wonderful.
Yeah.
She has a soul for sure.
Yes,
yeah, there's no doubt that she's not going to burn in hell.
Hey, maybe she would be nicer if she was fat, like Al Sharpton.
Well, with all that ice cream, you'd assume that she'd have some meat on her.
Well, she throws up right afterward.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And Deering.
No, that's why she orders the pea soup flavor.
She eats like
Haagen-Dazs.
She eats like a fly.
Yeah. So yeah, no, Republicans really, they should listen to Nancy. Look, we want to give credit where it's due. They, Republicans, you know, and conservatives like myself, we wouldn't want COVID hysteria, Black Lives Matter, worship to devolve into a cult or anything. You know, we wouldn't want, or the same kind of behavior that led to locking up toothpaste. You know, we wouldn't want that kind of hysteria to lead to a cult-like scenario with Republicans, because that's, you know, right, this was the Republican thing, right?
He made them come up with a vaccine. That is from God to us. And we must say thank you, God.
Governor Neal.
Thank you. Okay. I wear my vaccinated necklace all the time to say I'm vaccinated. All of you. Yes, I know you're vaccinated. You're the smart one. But you know there's people out there who aren't listening to God and what God wants.
The podlings are playing music.
Governor, where's your mask? Yeah, look around you, Governor. You're in Alexandria. Read the room, buddy.
And could you just please apologize for your white privilege?
Oh my God!
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence.
I thought we were doing the wave.
I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible.
It's
It's big. It's large in this country.
There's definitely a fire here.
Not an insurrection, by the way. No. That's my scarf!
Yeah, all made of Cosby sweaters.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we are the cult. You're right.
I don't know. Is there anything else? Is there anything else to really say, Dave? Anything else?
No, there's nothing ridiculous about any of it. I forgot that that's the world now.
Yeah. Well, it's their world.
Oh wait, no, it's America.
Well, it's their party.
No.
Yeah.
Mostly peaceful protests.
Mostly peaceful.
Well, it's it's clearly the conservatives.
We're the problem.
This
Cosby sweater scarf.
I just wish we would have
mugged the corpse of Desmond.
Why would you go to somebody snaps at you? I like you apologize for your white privilege, and you're like, I just have to find the right words. It's fuck you.
Sorry, I'm looking.
It starts with it's not that hard, and then you keep walking, and then if it goes viral, guess what? You're wearing a mask.
It's pronounced Phuket Yao.
I just want to take this time and actually say thank you, JFK, for your sacrifice for all of us. I mean, George Floyd, he didn't have...
Well, he's coming back.
He didn't do it on purpose.
JFK's going to appear once more.
Oh, is he? Yeah, he's coming back.
My Irish, Scottish, Italian, all my relatives got here in the 40s.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a lot of privilege.
Yeah. Primo Carnera, who was brought over as a carnival barker and didn't know how to box, and they just put him in the ring until he was basically bludgeoned into brain trauma as he worked off his debt to the mob. Yeah. I'm sure he really has a lot of privilege to debt.
It's just it's enough.
Yeah.
I'm just done.
No, we're
done.
Well, here's a positive development on CNN right now: 7.5% inflation. It was actually higher than we thought. So this is good for the Democrats are just winning on all fronts.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah.
Weren't they anticipating 6?
I think it was supposed to be right at 7.
Oh, okay.
So
I gave them far too much credit.
It sucks a little bit worse than we thought.
Oh, that's a decade of inflation.
That's a decade of inflation. Yeah.
It's at a 40-year high, Stephen.
Yeah, your cash is never going to be worth more than yesterday.
Unless you elect a Republican, that is.
Right.
Well, your cash is worth less now.
To give you an idea, if you have a 10% return on your portfolio, once upon a time, back in America, you double your money every 10 years. Right? That would be if you had about a 10% yield. You would about double your money every 10 years. Right now, you barely be keeping up with inflation.
You know that 5% raise you got? It's a 2% loss.
Yes, it's a 2% loss.
Technically.
And I still can't get my toothpaste.
No, it costs $10.
That's the real crime in all of this. When I go down to my Walgreens or Duane Reedy.
All right.
My when I stop at CBS.
CBS. Because I got my discount card and they give me that long receipt with $2 off my Pantene Pro.
Maybe I'll just start shopping at Amazon.
All right. So let's get to the Rogan thing because there have been some developments. And this goes far beyond, people throw around the term cancel culture. That's often an umbrella term used for lazy people. Or they just want to say, look, cancel culture. I told you guys about how I wrote this book a long time ago. It ended up being changed my mind. There was no term social justice warrior. There was no term cancel culture. It's called American Idiots because at this point Green Day was really big and it was turned down by every single major publisher saying that it wasn't enough of a doomsday book because it was designed to actually change people's minds. So the term cancel culture is often used by people now to just say, oh, it's cancel culture, so they can kind of get in on the action. There's more to that here with Joe Rogan, and I think it's important to understand not just the bad actors at play. It's not bad actors. These are major companies. And, of course, the current administration. This is a scary time. And you see what they're doing now with the Freedom Convoy in Canada. They're trying to say, oh, it's from the top down. It's from the big trucking at it again. Right, yeah. But Didn't you guys do a commercial for Pfizer? No, it's big trucking company.
Yeah, big owner-operator trucking.
Yes, it's Big Mac trucks. All right, so we covered this last week, Jen Psaki, before this kind of happened, where she was calling, right, on Spotify. She was calling for more censorship. And when I say this, when people say, oh, if the government's not banning you, it's not censorship. No, if the government is setting guidelines to try and curtail your views, your livelihood. Yeah. Look, let me ask you this. If you work, right, whatever you do, you watching, listening, if you're listening on audio, and by the way, I recommend that you watch because you missed some hilarious video of Al Sharpton. Let's say you're working, I don't know, in a manufacturing line. Okay. And you have a job that you do the same way every single day. And then the government tells your company, hey, you better make that guy actually do it this way. Otherwise, we're going to start looking into your company. And now you have to do this job in a way that requires twice the amount of time, or is much more dangerous for you. That affects you, right? Can we say at that point, oh, the government's not doing it to you? Well, no, yeah, actually they are. When they're leveraging companies and where they're making calls out there to try and change the playing field that has existed for a long time. And by the way, when I say playing field, I mean a playing field that was set by things like the First Amendment. It doesn't just apply to the printing press. Trying to change the playing field so that people can't make a living, that absolutely does fall under the umbrella of censorship, because private companies cannot operate as private companies when you have members of this administration and international governing bodies telling them what they need to do or else. So we covered it back then, and then I want to get into some updates, but here you go, is the Jen Psaki. When people talk about dog whistles, this isn't a dog whistle. Jen Psaki, watch her answer. She says, and I want everyone on these big tech platforms, basically saying, hey, look, you better start doing our bidding for us, and more importantly, when you see the incestuous relationship, listen to how this question is framed.
So our hope is that all major tech platforms and all major news sources, for that matter, be responsible and be vigilant to ensure the American people have access to accurate information on something as significant as COVID-19. That certainly includes Spotify. So this disclaimer, it's a positive step, but we want every platform to continue doing more to call out mis and disinformation while also uplifting accurate information.
We want all of the tech platforms and media to be vigilant. If you see something, say something. And I'm going to get to Trevor Noah in a little bit, because he commented back then, and he was saying, you know, now there's just people use it as an excuse to say that we were right all along when they were wrong on vaccines, and now it's just that they happen to be right, but before they were wrong. Hold on a second. I would understand that if it's just like someone making a prediction like a Jesse Ventura, right? It's just very broad. But when we say, for example, no, wait, masks, the way they're being used, don't work. And then, okay, when we were saying, for example, no, you can still get COVID and you can still transmit it, and they were saying, no, that's actually going to be banned. That doesn't mean that we were just shooting in the dark. We were very specific. When doctors were saying the 2 or 4% mortality rate is not accurate based on what we're seeing with our patients, thousands of patients, right? We have a good sample size, and they were banned from Facebook, YouTube. No, this is not just shooting in the dark. The point is the government has been wrong about nearly everything, every step of the way, just like they were with AIDS. We talked about this. Remember, they said 1 in 5 heterosexual couples would be touched by AIDS. That was a lie. Or you can say it was a mistake. Anthony Fauci said that a child could catch AIDS from his parents if they're in the same house, from the same cereal box, effectively. I don't know if he said cereal box, but he said literally in the same house, that it could be airborne. He was wrong. Either you're a liar or you're really, really shitty at your job. So the point is this. When the government says we need to determine what is misinformation, and they've been verifiably wrong, that's a scary spot. If all of big tech answer Jen Psaki's call, right, her little censorship signal in the sky, guess what? We're gone.
Right, and it's not the purview of the government to be determining what is allowed to be said by the people. They have a guiding doctrine, and it's free speech.
Yes.
Get out of it.
Now, there are some other updates. Neil Young said he was going to pull his music.
Yeah.
Yes. But now Neil Young, and see, it was never about the COVID misinformation, because you guys have now seen the N-word attack, and I said this with the COVID misinformation. It's not what it's about. Yeah. Don't apologize. Don't back up, because guess what? These people have no intention of forgiving you. You do not apologize to someone who is effectively an abuser. They're just looking to use it against you.
They want you to be wrong.
Exactly.
They want you to admit you're wrong. That's what the apology is.
And you know what's coming down the pike for Joe Rogan. They're probably going to find something LGBTQ, something that he said that's insensitive. So even though he's really a classical liberal, so it was never about that. Now Neil Young. This is a good example. People say, well, companies can do whatever they want. Okay, well, Neil Young, who, by the way, some of his catalog is owned by BlackRock, we've covered that. Now he's not just saying, I'll pull my music. He's encouraging employees at Spotify to walk out. So when people say, well, we don't really care about your music that much, he's like, well, you know what? Now I'm going to try and start a mutiny. So again, it's never enough. They want to remove all voices they don't agree with. And then after COVID misinformation, what happened? Oh, no. Sorry. Did we mean that COVID was the worst thing with Joe Rogan? No. It's that he's racist. And that's a new accusation. Look, have you ever been in an argument with a spouse? And you're arguing about something legitimate. Maybe you're arguing about something legitimate. It could be something as far as division of labor in the household. It could be about something as far as, I don't know, getting home at a certain time so you can spend time with each other.
Or why don't we have any money? And you're like, because I wanted to please Neil Young, so I quit my job.
Right, yes, effectively, right. Sugar addict. I blew Neil Young for a box of cigarettes.
Neil Putin?
And I paid him. So if you're in that relationship, right, you ever been in that relationship, and then when you're starting to make some headway, all of a sudden it switches. It's like, hold on a second, I thought it was that I wasn't getting home early enough, and then it's like, well, no, actually it's about the fact that that your mom is a bitch. Like, what? How do we even get to that? This is what happens when they're not actually trying to solve the problem. Everyone knows this. Bill Burr has a bit about this, where people go rogue. This is what happens in arguments. When someone knows they're not winning an argument, they just bring something else out. They bring something else out. And so, if this was truly about COVID misinformation, the fact that Joe Rogan used the N-word in a non-racist context could not be less relevant. The COVID attack didn't work effectively enough. And if the racist attack doesn't work effectively enough, there will be another attack. By the way, little known fact about this, the N-word controversy, it came from Patriot Takes. That's an organization partnered with a super PAC, Midas Touch, and they're the ones who, of course, drew all the attention to this. This is a Democrat organization. Oh, it's a far-left organization. So shocked.
And it's odd that they seem to disguise themselves as if they're a right-wing organization by their logo and flag.
Sometimes they do that. Kind of like the Lincoln Project, but that's really more so just a front for pedophilia. Well,
crazy. Oh, that's right.
It's the Lincoln Log Project.
Yes. The Lincoln Super Project.
Don't even get me started on the Tinker Toys back.
Oh, that's something else.
I'm more like the next guy. So, here's the thing. So are they. Rogan can't be canceled when people use that term because he's already been offered alternatives. So a company, for example, Rumble, where this show streams. And by the way, just so you know, there is nothing that would make me happier than to never have to broadcast on YouTube again and all of you to migrate over to Rumble. Everything that's here on YouTube is on Rumble. It's just that a lot of people complain that there's not an alternative. You guys need to migrate there. Once all of you migrate there, bye-bye YouTube. Just so you guys understand that. But we need you guys to move over. We need to reach people. Yeah, right? We've reached billions of people, and billions of people who were unreached here on YouTube. But at a certain point, if you get to the point, we're not there yet, where you're not allowed to actually discuss the truth. For example, Gerald getting us banned by quoting the CDC.
Wasn't my fault. And then the misinformation of it being Dave.
Right. Being the scapegoat. Well, Rumble offered Rogan $100 million to join their platform, and he rejected it because the Spotify CEO said to his employees that canceling voices is a slippery slope. Here's the thing, okay. It has nothing to do with misinformation. It has nothing to do with Joe Rogan being a racist. This has everything to do with big, multi-billion-dollar media conglomerates trying to eliminate it. We made it very clear when we went through the Fox apocalypse. That is what is happening right now. So let's go to Trevor Noah, who works for Viacom. I don't know what they're worth. $2 billion? I have no idea.
Fuck, you're still there?
Yeah. Trevor Noah? Yeah. Oh, he is a national treasure.
He is terrible at his
international treasure. Dual citizen treasure.
Terrible. Give me $55 billion. $55 billion.
Well, you know,
billion?
I rounded down by all of it.
Yeah. Wow. You were only off by $55 billion.
Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't want to be hyperbolic.
Oh, I know.
I did not want to be hyperbolic.
How much money do you need?
Because that will be the epitome of misinformation. So, Joe,
I bet he wears an earpiece now where they tell him what to say.
Right, yeah. Correct it.
McQueary. Remember, McQueary.
Kiri, I'm not queer.
McDonald queer.
McDonald queer. Fish fillet. Mm-hmm. Where's my toothpaste? So, Joe, listen, Joe, they were never going to forgive you, okay? They were never going to forgive. I said he might be watching. Just look at how fellow comedian, and Dave, we can talk about this. It's always wonderful when comedians dog you pile on.
Yeah.
And I remember sounding this alarm back in 2006, 2007. when I was a teenager and having been banned from cultural affairs in Canada, saying they're coming for you, and comedians say, no, that won't happen with comedy. It's already happening with comedy. And then what happened is people thought, okay, with comedy clubs we can sort of circumvent that and do it online, and now you can't even do that. So here's Trevor Noah, a fellow comedian, talking about this issue. And I encourage you to go watch the whole video because everything he says is wrong as well as unfair.
What I found particularly illuminating is when he says, I wasn't being racist, I was just being entertaining. No, Joe, I think you were using racism to be entertaining. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying you were trying to offend black people, by the way, but you knew that offending black people would get a laugh out of those white friends of yours.
How would you do that if you didn't know it would offend black people?
His joke, when he said it.
We walked into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door, and there was no white people. There was no white people. Planet of the Apes didn't take place in Africa. That was a racist thing for him to say.
Yeah, exactly. It is a racist thing for you to say. You're saying it's racist, but then in the video you're going to be like, oh, it just wasn't racist. Joe Rogan said a racist thing.
So he acknowledged it immediately.
That it was racist. Yeah. Literally when he said it. He said it, and then he's like,
First time I saw that.
racist. And then now he's like, I would never say racist. People do a thing that's racist, and then they go like, no, it's not racist. Can I be honest with you? Honestly, I'm not a scholar. I'm not like the whatever. This is my opinion.
They will be stunned to find out you're not amongst them.
Just truly petrified of having the label racist branded on them for life. That's what people are really afraid of.
Yes! That's one accurate thing. They are afraid of that. But you know who's afraid of that? People who aren't racist. People are racist. You go, you're racist. Like, yeah.
The problem is though you've branded everyone as that.
Right.
So what difference does it make now? And if you look at that, what I didn't see the Planet of the Apes clip. I just even made a joke about it the other day. But when you hear the Planet of the Apes thing, you go, I know exactly what the joke was.
Yes, I know exactly. And by the way,
and again, it's a stupid joke. It's a joke that doesn't need to be made, and he acknowledges it immediately.
He acknowledges it immediately because of a geographical error. Here's the thing. He went to go see that. You look at the timeline, the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, okay?
Yeah.
If you watch that, it wasn't taking place in Manhattan. It was taking place in a jungle. It was taking place in an area that obviously seemed exotic. That's what he was talking about, okay? That's what he was. It didn't take place in Africa. Look, he's not being literal and right away say, okay, I didn't mean it the way that it came out. This is what's going to happen when you're on air for a very, very long amount of time. But Joe Rogan should not be in the business of apologizing, and now everyone else is agreeing with this, to people who will not accept your apology. Here's the thing. Trevor Noah was deliberately misrepresented. And there are several videos, by the way, and they're the only videos that get significant play on Trevor Noah's channel recently, deliberately misrepresenting Joe Rogan's apology. I think
I was just trying to be entertaining. I certainly wasn't trying to be racist. And I certainly would never want to offend someone for entertainment with something as stupid as racism.
Okay, so right away, Trevor Noah's misrepresenting it. But here's something that Joe Rogan said in his apology that I entirely disagree with, and I think it's why, unfortunately, and let me be clear about this. This is not to come down on Joe Rogan at all. This is to hopefully let someone like Joe Rogan and everyone else out there, we've been through this and we're still standing, how you handle it. They smelled blood in the water because Joe Rogan, because you were being sincere, because you're a decent person. They tried to use your decency against you.
Yeah.
But Joe Rogan said something that this is where I think he made the mistake in his apology.
But whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you've done.
Okay, now first, pardon my language, if you have kids, they should leave because I have to quote them here and we can't bleep this necessarily in real time. Completely disagree with that. If ever you have to say that you're not racist, you fucked up. No, that's wrong. They want you to feel that way. If ever you are in a position where you have to defend yourself by saying, I'm not racist, someone else is trying to fuck you up.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you screwed up. Because guess who would never say I'm not racist? A racist! And what they try to do is say, you say, I'm not racist. That's exactly what a racist would want us to think. No, I think a racist would want you to think that, I don't know, there's a superior race, dumbass.
They tend to yell it, they tend to have a uniform on, and they tend to be surrounded by other people with said uniform.
Yes!
They're not hiding it.
If you acknowledge the racism that you made, if you acknowledge the racism, that gives you the racist branding that Trevor Noah was talking about, that goes right onto the person that's not racist.
Exactly. That's exactly what they want to do.
Which is so confusing that I just said that, but that's how the world is now.
Honestly, my eyes glazed over like I was Nancy Pelosi.
But it was true. It's accurate.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Racists wouldn't care.
Exactly.
You think Robert Byrd, when he was recruiting for the Klan, you think if he was marching down the street with burning crosses and say, "Hey, you're racist." What? No, oh, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind.
Not me.
No.
I'm walking next to
somebody hold my hood.
Yeah. I'm racist walking here.
It looks like we might have had a little comment from Mr. Noah about this. In fact,
just recently.
Just recently.
This is happening live,
or if you're watching right now, he said.
He commented to us on Twitter.
Why didn't you invite him on to talk about it? Well, we had your video.
Well, I'll have you on to talk. I'll have Trevor Noah on to talk about it.
We'll have our people reach out to your people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Is this a public tweet or is this a message?
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
I think it's a message.
All right. Well, Mr. Noah, you're more than welcome to.
Of course.
And we can exchange contact information, and I'm desperate for you I wouldn't want to do your material because I would be racist. No. Look, let me be really clear. If we have Trevor Noah on, and I know I wouldn't do it, of course I'll be respectful and cordial, and I respect anyone who, reaches a degree of excellence in anything, even if it's, through the assistance of a $55 million company. Now,
look, it's got to be honest. You have to answer these questions. Nothing
No,
is ever going to be enough based on what you said in your video. Nothing is ever going to be enough.
No,
You're going to find another thing to go after, and another thing, and another thing, and you're going to mischaracterize.
No, but can we have him on? Is that for real? Because this is the kind of stuff that needs to happen if we ever want to find any common ground and save the country.
Oh, I don't even find common ground with someone who's just
Oh no, I'm not saying that you're going to find common ground, but if somebody who's actually owned by a giant company come on this show, and actually talk to you.
Hey, you know what, Trevor Noah? Also, put in a word to your guys over there at Viacom to stop false copyrighting our content. That would be great. Because people who have to go ahead and independently create shows, and we can say whatever we want. We operate a little bit on a different playing field than you guys. You have the support of big tech, and of course, this administration telling big tech what should be permitted, but we don't. So I would hope that you go to bat for the little guy, not pull up the ladder behind you. I would gladly have you on the show, and if you've watched any conversation that I've had with adversarial voices on this show, will be 100% respectful and listen to what you have to say, even if I don't necessarily respect what you have to say. Now, I think this is progress to some degree.
I do too.
And when I use the term progress, I mean it's going to make liberals mad. So, because they use the term progress meaning...
that kind of progress.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Right, the slow degradation of the moral fiber of our country.
Oh, that's what you said.
Now, if you guys remember this, Roseanne Barr, she was canceled for making a similar Planet... Now, she made a Planet of the Apes comparison, but I need to give you context. It wasn't about black people in Planet of the Apes. She said, this is why she was fired, that Valerie Jarrett looked like the one lady from Planet of the Apes. Now, completely disregarding race. Just to be clear, I think Brock Lesnar looks like an albino gorilla from the movie Congo with a laser gun.
He does. He does.
So completely disregarding race.
Have you looked at Ron Perlman?
Yes.
That man is an orangutan.
Right.
Like there's only one man on this planet who looks like an ape. It's Ron Perlman.
It's Ron
We
Perlman.
found the missing link.
I mean, that is just...
Well, I don't know. I think he's a Australopithecus. I'm not entirely sure.
I think he's a silverback.
Right.
Snow gorilla.
He's barely walking upright. They have to put him in a scoliosis back. When he's having...
I'm pretty sure they just put peanut butter on his gums and someone else does his voice.
Yeah, he's the one who did Beauty and the Beast. They had to prosthetic him handsomer.
Beauty.
Yeah. It was down between him and Clint Howard, and it was just that, Ron Perlman had the height.
Yeah.
Sorry. And by the way, Clint, we love you. Like Ron Perlman, you're incredibly talented. Now, the comparison was made between Valerie Jarrett, Roseanne Barr made this comparison, and that one lady on Planet of the Apes, a specific character, completely disregarding race. Come on, this was a comparison that she made.
It looks pretty close.
And here's the thing, Roseanne Barr was very clear that she didn't even know, like most of you, that Valerie Jarrett was allegedly black.
I thought the bitch was white! I thought the bitch was white!
Damn.
Seems a little upset.
Well, it is...
Well, you don't have to take my word for
it. It was far less offensive to take her show away, say that she had an opioid overdose, and then just changed the name to the Connors.
Yeah.
And you got to respect the cast for not standing by her and all staying on the show.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Good people.
No, and I think the show was going gangbusters after that, right? They all said, we're tuning in for the lesbian middle sister.
It's still on just because I think ABC has to keep it.
Yeah. You know, certain things die and kind of live on after their death.
Hey, by the way, Roseanne wasn't the only one who made the Planet of the Apes comparison. Just while we're talking about this double standard, know who else did? DeRay. You know DeRay, the Black Lives Matter activist? DeRay. Remember? He complained that the Planet of the Apes used his image because there was an ape in a blue vest. Now, I want to be clear about this. We talked about this when it happened.
Yeah.
I heard DeRay. Is it DeRay McKesson?
I think DeRay is good.
DeRay is good enough.
Yeah.
I had read that DeRay said, hey, Planet of the Apes, he was threatening to sue, I believe, at one point. They stole my image using my patented, my blue vest. What are you, a cartoon character? You do the same thing every day? But I would have never, ever drawn the comparison until I go into a movie and I see the ape with that blue vest. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, DeRay's self-racist.
I didn't even know. Didn't even notice the vest.
Hey, it's DeRay. That would have never
Who's
crossed
watching this and going, I too own a blue vest?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's not like the last blue vest.
Was he a self-loathing black man at that point? Like, if it was a spider monkey in a blue vest, would you have said that?
It's like me watching a Heba commercial and being like, you son of a...
Oh, dude, you live in a treehouse.
Well, I did get a great bit of money from him.
By the way, you might want to switch to an electric stove.
By the way, guys.
Yeah,
that's true.
Party at Dave?
I have killed many family members.
Would burn it in a tree.
Tyler speaking. He's actually responsible for more bird species going extinct than wind farms.
It's true, actually.
But he's happy doing it.
The red-breasted swallow, though, is my dear friend.
Oh, Lord.
Is that the African or European swallow? You know what? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They both swallow.
Yes. What's hilarious, too, is not even hilarious. Look, this is the double standard. It shows you, again, the decency. They want to use your decency against you. Joe Rogan defended Trevor Noah in 2015 when Trevor Noah was accused of racism. This is what Rogan wrote. He wrote too much for 140 characters, but nothing he said was out of line, and he's a funny dude. F the haters, Noah. That's what Joe Rogan said.
Well, this is black people can't be racist, though, Steve.
Right.
So that's.
I don't think Trevor. I don't know that Trevor Noah is. I don't think he's racist. I think he's bought into a lot of racially charged narratives. I think that there's a racism that is a constant through line on the left. That everything even needs to be seen through the lens of race, or telling people that they cannot. They've tried to gaslight you. They want to tell you to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That is exactly correct. And I know that you're going to counter and say they're just saying that because they're delusional, because they're white. They don't realize that you can't do it when you're black. Well, you know what? Tell that to some kid with flipper grandkids from the hills of West Virginia. Okay? Everyone has their thing. And yes, some people get some tough breaks. And yes, we've had tough breaks in this country as it relates to race.
The guy is from Africa. I mean, he's supposed to be alien.
What's a fair point?
You can do it.
Yeah. You know, I think even if you're not great.
Well, no.
Right.
I mean, you could give yourself a chance.
I honestly don't think. I think Comedy Central was cruel. I think Comedy Central was cruel because Jon Stewart is a tough act to follow, and they said.
That is true.
I wish people in positions like Trevor Noah's or anybody who's in the media who has a voice in the black community, instead of perpetuating these things, lead in a different direction. Don't have the victim card be honestly the only thing that you're talking about.
I don't know how much of a voice Trevor Noah has.
Well, I know what you mean, but
I don't know either. I don't.
Listen. I'm not gonna
compare it to say like Dave Chappelle, who's racist,
who does,
transphobic,
but is losing the white community. The liberal. Here's the problem with comedy. I'll tell you right now. Is the comics that are actually doing it, making a living, don't give a shit. They completely support Rogan. They support Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
They believe what they're saying because they're making a living at comedy. Right. The problem is the 10,000 open micers that think they're comedians who became social justice warriors. It's these people that can't make a living. Right. The reason why comedy clubs were a place that were a bastion of free speech, where you thought you weren't cancelable, was because people shared in the camaraderie that you were able to say anything.
Well, I'll never perform at a comedy club again. I will only perform at a comedy club if they have a written policy that if you film or if you are offended, you are not welcome here. This is a free speech friendly zone, and there aren't comedy clubs out there that do it. So that's why you and I do these theaters, because, well, also there's enough room.
Yeah, but I don't care if my joke offends you. You're allowed to be offended. I mean, that's fine. That's your choice. It's not... Your emotional reaction to my joke is one thing. It doesn't give you the right in the middle of a club to stand up and be like, you son of a bitch, every word you said.
Well, you did go a little far by doing 12 minutes in the titanium ribcage bit.
Look,
I think that was targeted.
All, I think my fall on my face vaccination bit was stolen.
But to be fair, you fell forward.
Yes.
Well, you fell backwards.
But this,
put a twist on it.
I saw it online because people had put up pictures of Rogan, and I only did it because I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're going to stand in camaraderie, whatever. Then it's like, look at all these people trying to latch onto that. It's like, no, it's just comics, real comics. Like, I've opened for Chappelle. I've met Joe. Like, I believe in what the talent is. Yeah. I believe that Chappelle is one of the greatest comics to ever live. I stand by that statement.
Of course.
So I believe these people should be allowed to be out there and say what they want to say. The idea that Dave Chappelle is getting booed off stage somewhere disgusts me.
The idea that Dave Chappelle, who is embraced by the black community and by the white community, which is the beauty of comedy, by the way, but because he's rejected by not even the LGB community, but the TQAIP community, to the point that white Patton Oswalt has to delete a picture with his friend and apologize, that's how far we've gone. That's why you don't apologize. Even if you think you're wrong, you don't apologize to people who are just going to use it as an attack. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. I think that in a consensual, loving relationship, of course you apologize because you're seeking some kind of reconciliation. That's when one party is not... Look, peace is a two-way street. It's like driving down a freeway right now. You may not want to hit the oncoming truck. If they want to hit you, you're getting hit. Period. So don't play ball with them.
It's also the phoniness of Hollywood, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be your friend. I'm your friend. I'm going to stand by you and say that's my friend. That's what it is. It is what it is. The fact that you would have to apologize to take a picture with somebody who came up in comedy with, it's disgraceful. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that Patton Oswalt's untalented, because he's not. He's funny. And it's just the fact that you would put out a picture...
He's disgraceful as a man.
Now?
Yeah, now. That's disgraceful as a man.
It's you and your friend. There's no reason you should apologize for putting up a photo of it. It's just cruel to do to somebody who's been in your life.
Yeah.
To what? Please a mob of people that can't be pleased?
And it also shows you how it's not enough, because he did that whole special on George Floyd, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was absolutely on board with a lot of the Black Lives Matter. He went after Candace Owens hard, and Candace Owens is more forgiving of Dave Chappelle than this group. Think of that for a second.
She was immediately forgiving. Not only forgiving, she wasn't bothered.
She wasn't bothered.
Yeah. Well, moments like these reveal people's character. So just watch what people that you think well of are doing these days.
Well, here's what I want to get to. Here's the root cause of this issue. And I'm glad that Trevor Noah has messaged, because we can talk about it, though I think there are certain third rails that he won't be allowed to talk about. Because when you try and convince people that you authentically can say whatever it is that you want to say, and it's different from people like Joe Rogan or myself, it's pretty tough to have an open conversation. I'm trying to read through the lines. Noah's attacks, or at least what I would say is misrepresentations on Rogan, it has nothing to do with racist language. Now, here's another video that he uploaded, where he insinuates that the problem is because, and he's not just saying the problem in the sense of an objective sort of observer, saying, oh, the problem is now he's mainstream, and so there's, people are now going through his stuff with a fine-tooth comb. Watch the context. He's saying you shouldn't be mainstream. You should be niche, which is ironic considering the audience size and the difference. But that's also, they want to keep this facade alive. That, my God, people actually tune in to watch Trevor Noah on Comedy Central. Or, my God, people tune in to watch Brian Stelter. Or, my God, Brian Williams was an actual journalist. They need to keep that lie alive. And so now you have Trevor Noah using the what? This is basically the bully approach of, well, now that you're at the, it's okay to be over there, but you can't come to the cool kids table. What?
Because like what happened here was Joe Rogan was fringe, right? So he was like in his corner of the world doing his own thing, I know this is like a weird concept, but like, okay, Joe Rogan was fringe. He was in the corner of the world doing his own thing with his friends, by the way, saying whatever shit they wanted, blah, 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 blah. Then the podcast got bigger, and it's still blah, 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 blah. Then
organically.
There. And even like when it was huge, it was still like fringe. Then Spotify came, and they were like, yo, we want to make you mainstream. He stayed in his fringe lane. You find this video, because these videos have come up and gone and come up, but most people didn't see it because it wasn't in the mainstream. You understand what I'm saying? That's the curse of mainstream. Doesn't matter if you're a musician, doesn't matter if you're a person, doesn't matter if you're a thing. It's like, be careful, you make your thing in a corner, and then when you come to the rest of society, Be careful about what they think of your swimming dick, is what I'm saying. I hope I've shed some light on this situation.
Hey,
That's the
He's
funniest
an
thing about it was
absolute
Spotify, like,
retard.
by the way, you know what a comedian should never be? Careful.
You know, Spotify bought Joe Rogan because he was huge and they were going to make money off of him.
Well, they didn't even buy Joe Rogan. They bought the rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to... No, but it's not 1920 where they're like, I'm going to make you a star, kid.
Right, yeah, exactly.
All they knew was...
See, they tried it with Noah.
Yeah,
Joe Rogan had one hell of a corner if he was off in a corner somewhere.
We're going to make you a star. Just stay away from that apartheid in the pharma business. But we sure think that the Americans will like you because you're ethnic, but not so ethnic that you intimidate white people. They let you date their daughter.
Yes, this was all there. This was already as big as it is now. I would argue it may have even been bigger before it was on Spotify.
Right. Well, that's true. But Trevor Noah actually just said something there that should not shock everybody, but it should shock him. He just revealed the play. The play isn't that the content, the videos have come before and they've gone. They've come before and gone. No, you're right. When he went to a woke company that people like governments want to put pressure on, then it became an issue.
Right.
Not the content, because the content has come and gone before.
And by the way, I think a big reason that Joe Rogan went to Spotify is because he saw the way the tides were turning on YouTube. And he thought, you know what, okay, if I go here, at least I can say what I want. And that's what they said. That was, contractually, that was part of the deal. And now that's changed. So, okay, YouTube, maybe not. Okay, well, then Spotify. Okay, we can't do that. How about Facebook? No. How about Twitter? No. This is what's happening. Okay, well, at least let me create my own app, and I'll just, oh, no, wait, you're going to be banned from the App Store. Well, let me get my audiobook on Amazon. Oh, no, that's going to be banned. We've seen this happen everywhere. You're talking about a consolidation of power with really 5 companies. Let's call it 6 to be generous. And all of them are doing the bidding of the United States government, and people like Trevor Noah cheer on. If you stayed in your fringe lane, hey, how about you actually celebrate that a comedian came up organically? How about you celebrate? This is the thing. I remember watching Joe Rogan. Okay, I remember watching Joe Rogan back when he was on his webcam a long time ago. Long time ago. I was in Montreal and I was watching it, and he was lucky to get, you're talking about a few thousand viewers at this point. It was mainly on his website. Remember? If anyone forgets about this, Nick Diaz, hey, Trim by day, Joe Rogan by night, all night, every day. This is something that happened a long time ago. It was part of his intro. I've been following him for a long time. It was just him and a webcam, and one thing that he would always say, and I would echo this, it was inspiring to me when I was coming up. He said, the beauty of the internet is that there's no gatekeeper. Anyone can do it. He changed when he was on Tom Green's show that was in his basement at one point. He said, this is great, you're doing it on your own. And this is Joe, by the way, Joe Rogan was hosting one of the most popular shows in the country at this point. He had been on a news radio, he was hosting Fear Factor, and he had a contract with the UFC, and he decided to go out and take a risk, and he was saying, because I want other people to do this, because he was tired of dealing with executives. Also, he did work with the UFC for no money early on. A lot of people don't know that either. This is a man who takes risks and who actually puts his money where his mouth is. He just said, I'm a fan, I'll go and do it. And I think at a certain point he said, well, it just cost me too much money to travel and go out and do it. He was doing it as a fan, and now, of course, he's wealthy working with the UFC, as he should be. He started it with a webcam, and he talked about how there are no more gatekeepers. So this is the contrast. Joe Rogan, throughout the entirety of his career, if you want to go through and pull some racist stuff, fine. But go look at his early content, and you will see a constant, him saying, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just trying to make this work because I don't have to deal with executives telling me what I can and cannot say. On the flip side, the people who want to get rid of him, the Neil Youngs who work with BlackRock, the Trevor Noahs saying you should stay fringe. Really, let me ask you this, Trevor Noah, and maybe we'll ask you this when you're on the show. Do you want a world where comedians have to live in your world of the Viacoms? Let's go through the companies. What is it? ABC Disney, NBC Universal, Viacom, I don't know, is it Viacom Turner? There's Turner, Viacom. There's about 5 or 6 companies. Trevor Noah, is that the world you want? Do you feel more free than Joe Rogan? Do you want comedians to look to your situation and say, oh, yeah, I want to do that, where I have to be at home for 2 years because of the policy of COVID, and I'm not even free to go in front of a live audience, which he still isn't right now? Or do you think that do you want younger comedians to at least look to Joe Rogan and say, oh, great, I can do it, and I don't have to be beholden to someone else dangling a check? Do you really believe that the Moonvezes, that the Weinsteins of the world, that the Zuckers that the Roger Ailes of the world. I had to deal with that. Do you really believe that they have the best interests at heart of entertainers, of performers, of people who should be free to speak their minds and their opinions? Do you believe that's a better world for people like you and people like Joe Rogan? Because you are whistling for them, whether you mean to or not. And I don't say this with a hint of hatred. I say it with tremendous sadness. Because this beast is going to swallow you whole too, man. It absolutely will. And by the way, ironically, when he says this is fringe, well, you know what? I don't know if he believes it, just like when Brian Stelter was bitching that people were that it's a problem. They're trusting Joe Rogan more than CNN. Well, stop sucking at your job, CNN, for starters.
I believe for Stelter it was fridge.
Yes, well, he wasn't concerned about them locking up toothpaste.
No.
He was just concerned about them locking up lard paste. He's like, they're locking up my beef tallow! Shit! So Trevor Noah, his most popular video, 18 million views, with the assistance of Viacom. Joe Rogan, 51 million views. I don't know if we have the screen grab that I asked you guys to bring up.
Tommy Loren, yeah.
Yeah, it's with Tommy Loren.
Okay, yeah.
If we have the screen grab of his recent videos, you know, he has how many million? 9 million subscribers. He's lucky to crack out. The only videos that are immensely popular are the ones that are addressing Joe Rogan. And we're talking about short clips produced by Viacom. Joe Rogan, I'm sorry. Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis, I'm sorry.
Joe Lewis.
I'm talking about short clips that have the full promotional authority of he'll be fine.
Yeah.
That have the full promotional authority of a $55 billion company. And it gets less than, not to toot my own horn, than the hour and a half show that we do every day.
Yeah.
Not to mention the short clips. And you want to say it's fringe. It's gaslighting. It really is. It's fringe. And then a lot of people are going, how many? At least 11 million people are going, no, it's not. But there's 300,000 people at CNN going, yeah, those 11 million, they're fringe.
Insane.
They want to change, they want to maintain a death grip on the political landscape, the media landscape, and they want to make you think that they are not. And they want to make you think that you are in some fringe minority, and you are not. Just like Dave Chappelle is not. We have a segment here on Dave Chappelle, but you know what, I guess we'll probably have to do it on Mug Club. Listen, please, and if you want to have Trevor Noah on the show, you think it would be a good conversation, do me a favor, smash that like button.
Do it.
I think it really would be a good conversation.
I would absolutely like to have him. I'd like to have him in person, though, because with Skype and everything, it's all
stupid. Yeah, no, like a real conversation, like something needs to...
Yes.
Stuff just needs to happen.
And leave a comment on it. We're going to talk about Dave Chappelle and zoning laws, because apparently he's racist now.
Oh, no.
Something like that. I don't know. You two piss off.
Can you hear me?
Special award. Special award. Okay.